3 days passed. Kang grew stronger under Minju's care. The alien's wounds began to heal, though the strange metal devices in its skin still caused it pain. "These implants are the problem," Minju said one evening as she checked Kang's vital signs. She had created her own system to monitor the alien's health, adapting her veterinary equipment as best she could. They seemed to activate randomly, causing pain. Dojin watched as Kang flinched when one of the purple devices lit up brighter. Why would they build pain into their own war beast? "Control," Minju answered simply. "Pain is a powerful way to control any living thing." That night, Dojin brought a visitor to the clinic. Hyun was their childhood friend, a brilliant engineer who had worked for the military until he quit 6 months ago. He had refused to talk about why he left his job, but many people said it was because he disagreed with how the military handled alien technology. "You have to be joking," Hyun said when he saw Kang. The alien war beast was now able to stand, its massive form taking up most of the back room. "This is what you've been hiding. Can you help us understand these devices?" Minju asked, pointing to the implants. Hyun's shock turned to interest. He approached Kang carefully, carrying a small scanner he had built himself. Kang watched him with caution but stayed still. "Amazing," Hyun whispered as he scanned the nearest implant. "The technology is beyond anything I've studied. But the purpose," his face darkened. "This is cruel. These devices connect directly to the pain centers in its brain." "Can you remove them?" Dojin asked. Hyun shook his head. "Not safely. But I might be able to disable them." Over the next hours, Hyun worked carefully with Minju's help. They discovered that Kang's body was a mix of natural biology and artificial enhancements. The creature had been born, not built, but then changed to become a weapon. "Look at this," Minju said, showing scanned results on her computer. "Kang's brain structure has similarities to Earth canines, but much more complex. And there are clear signs of tampering, areas enhanced for aggression, others suppressed." "The Vorn wanted a smart weapon," Hyun explained, "but not one smart enough to question orders." Despite this, Kang showed remarkable intelligence. It seemed to understand their conversations, turning its head when they used its new name. When Hyun showed it a simple tablet with pictures, Kang could identify objects by touching the screen with a careful claw. "This isn't just a weapon," Dojin said, watching Kang solve a simple puzzle game Hyun had loaded. "This is a person." That night, while working on one of the larger implants, Hyun made a discovery. "There's a memory storage component here," he told the siblings. "I think I can access it." The images they saw shocked them all. They watched through Kang's eyes as it trained in harsh conditions, fought in brutal battles, and was punished with pain whenever it showed any hesitation. They saw Kang and others like it treated as things, not living beings. "No wonder the Vorn abandoned it," Minju said, wiping tears from her eyes. "They see these creatures as tools to be thrown away when damaged." Kang watched them view its memories. When the screen showed a particularly painful moment, the alien made a low sound and turned away. "It remembers everything," Dojin said quietly. "It knows what they did to it." Hyun put down his tools and looked at Kang directly. "No more," he promised. "No one will use you like that again." For the first time since they had found it, Kang made a new sound, a deep rumble that seemed almost like a purr. As they watched in amazement, it lowered its massive head to rest gently against Hyun's arm. "I think," Minju said with a small smile, "Kang just made a friend." The mountain forests of South Korea were peaceful that morning. Birds sang in the trees. A light wind moved through the leaves. Park Ranger Dojin walked his usual path, checking for signs of trouble. Dojin loved these quiet morning walks. At 32 years old, he had worked in these mountains for 8 years. He knew every trail and tree. He carried a small backpack with water, a first aid kit, and his lunch. A radio hung from his belt, though it rarely rang with problems. "Another beautiful day," he said to himself. stopping to look at the view. That's when he heard it, a sound like thunder, but on a clear day. He looked up just in time to see something bright streak across the sky. Whatever it was coming down fast. Boom! The ground shook as the object crashed less than a mile away. Birds flew from trees in panic. Small animals ran in all directions. "That can't be good," Dojin said, reaching for his radio. Then he stopped. The government had warned all citizens to report any alien objects immediately. The Vorn attack on Earth had ended just days ago, when the aliens suddenly retreated. Everyone was still afraid they might come back. Dojin should call this in, but something made him curious. What if he just took a quick look first? "I'll just check it out," he decided. "If it's dangerous, I'll call right away." Dojin followed the smoke rising above the trees. It took him 20 minutes of hard climbing to reach the crash site. What he found was a smoking crater about 15 feet wide. In the center sat a large metal pod. It was black with strange markings that glowed with a faint purple light. "Definitely alien," Dojin whispered, staying behind a tree. He took out his phone and snapped a few pictures. The military would want to see this. He should leave now and make the call. But as he turned to go, he heard something that made him freeze. Scratch, scratch, thump. Something was inside the pod, something alive. Dojin knew he should run, call for help, let the military handle it. But the scratching sound continued, weaker now. Whatever was in there sounded hurt. "I must be crazy," he muttered, moving closer to the pod. The metal was hot, but cooling quickly. Dojin saw that one side of the pod had cracked open from the impact. If he could just widen that crack a little. Using a fallen branch as a lever, Dojin worked on the damaged section. The metal groaned but slowly gave way. The crack widened until it was large enough for him to peek inside. What he saw made him stumble back in shock. A creature lay inside, larger than any animal Dojin had ever seen. It had black armored skin and multiple limbs. Its body was covered in wounds, some still leaking the strange blue fluid. 4 yellow eyes slowly opened, fixing on Dojin. Dojin knew he should be terrified. This was clearly a Vorn war beast, one of the monsters that had killed so many people during the attacks. The news had shown pictures of these things tearing through buildings and soldiers alike. But this one wasn't attacking. It wasn't even moving much. It just watched him with those strange eyes. And was that pain he saw in them? The creature made a low sound, something between a whine and a growl. It tried to move but stopped, clearly hurting. For a moment, Dojin stood frozen in place, his mind racing. He should call the military. That was the protocol. That was the safe thing to do. Instead, he reached for his phone and called the one person he knew might help. "Minju, it's me. I need your help with something unusual. Can you bring your vet supplies to the North Ridge? And maybe don't tell anyone where you're going." He looked back at the injured alien creature. "Trust me, sis, this is important. And please hurry." As he put his phone away, Dojin wondered if he was making a terrible mistake. But when he looked at those intelligent eyes watching him from inside the pod, he knew he couldn't just walk away. "Professor Sunwoo," Colonel Junho said stiffly, "this is a military operation. You have no authority here." "On the contrary," Sunwoo replied calmly, showing her badge. "The President has given me full authority in all matters concerning alien life forms. That includes this one." She walked into the room, seemingly unafraid of Kang. The alien watched her with curious eyes. "May I?" she asked Minju, pointing to the tablet Kang had used. Minju nodded, and Sunwoo examined the drawing Kang had made. Then she turned to Hyun. "Show me everything you've learned about this creature." For the next hour, Hyun, Minju, and Dojin presented their findings. They showed videos of Kang solving puzzles, matching symbols, and drawing. They explained about the painful implants and how Kang had responded to kindness. Colonel Chunho watched with growing frustration. "This doesn't change anything," he insisted. The war beast is valuable military technology. Its name is Kang, Dojin said firmly. Sun Wu turned to Junho. Colonel, what do you know about the Vorn? They're our enemies, Junho answered simply. They attacked Earth. Yes, but do you know why they left so suddenly? When Junho didn't answer, Sun Wu continued. Our analysts believe they retreated because they underestimated us. Not our weapons, but our values. She walked over to Kang and gently touched its armored head. To everyone's surprise, the alien leaned into her touch like a dog might. The Vorn create sentient beings and turn them into weapons, she explained. They discard them when they're damaged. This practice is considered barbaric by most other spacefaring species we've made contact with since the attack. What does that have to do with anything? Junho demanded. Everything. Sun Wu said simply. How we treat Kang shows who we are as a species. If we treat it as just another weapon to be used, we're no better than the Vorn. But if we recognize its intelligence and right to live peacefully, we show ourselves to be better. That's an alien war beast, Junho argued, pointing at Kang. It was made to kill humans. No, Minju said quietly. It was forced to fight. There's a difference. Sun Wu nodded. The choice is simple, Colonel. We can either follow the Vorn's path of using sentient beings as tools, or we can show that humanity has a better way. Junho looked uncertain for the first time. He looked at Kang, who was now sitting calmly beside Dojin. What do you propose? He finally asked Sun Wu. A new program, she answered. The Interspecies Understanding Initiative. Kang will be its first member. We'll learn from it, and it will learn from us. No pain, no control, just mutual respect. And who would be responsible for this? Alien? Junho asked. We would, Dojin said, looking at Minju and Haiyan, who both nodded. We've already built trust with Kang. Sun Wu smiled. That sounds perfect. In the following days, the program became official. Kang moved to a special facility built near Haiyan's workshop. Dojin, Minju, and Haiyan were appointed as Kang's primary caretakers and researchers. Word about Kang spread through proper channels. When the Vorn eventually made contact again, they were surprised to learn that their discarded war beast had been rehabilitated, not weaponized. The humans did what with K-917? General Tahoe asked his information officer in disbelief. They've given it a name. Sir, they're treating it as a person, not a weapon. And it seems to be happy. This new information made the Vorn leadership reconsider their view of humans. Perhaps these Earth creatures were not the simple savages they had assumed. On Earth, Kang continued to surprise everyone with its intelligence and gentleness. The painful implants were all disabled now. New ones, designed by Haiyan, allowed Kang to communicate more easily with simple words and images. One evening, as Dojin sat with Kang under the stars, the alien used its new communication device to form 3 simple words. Kang, home, family. Dojin smiled and placed his hand on the creature's side. Yes, he said, home and family. For Kang, once a weapon created only for destruction, these words meant everything. And for humanity, they meant a new beginning, a step toward a better future among the stars. A week passed. Kang grew stronger each day. The alien's wounds healed faster than any Earth animals would. Haiyan worked on the painful implants, managing to disable several of them. Without constant pain, Kang's true personality is emerging, Minju said one morning. She watched as the massive alien carefully picked up a ball with its claws and rolled it back to Dojin. Look how gentle it can be. Dojin caught the ball and smiled. Who would have thought a war beast could play catch? They had moved Kang to Haiyan's workshop in the mountains. It was larger than the clinic and far from curious eyes. The workshop was filled with tools and half-finished projects. Haiyan had built a comfortable area for Kang with soft blankets and pillows. Kang likes it here, Haiyan said, watching the alien explore the space. more room to move around. They had discovered that Kang ate almost anything. Meat was its favorite, but it also enjoyed fruits and even some vegetables. Its 6 powerful legs were all working now, letting it move with surprising grace for such a large creature. "Watch this," Dojin said that afternoon. He placed different objects in a row on the floor: a red ball, a blue cube, a green triangle, and a yellow star. Then he held up a picture of the blue cube. Kang looked at the picture, then carefully touched the matching blue cube with one claw. "Now try this one," Dojin said, showing a picture of the yellow star. Again, Kang correctly touched the matching object. "It's not just following commands," Minju said, amazed. "It understands the concept of matching shapes and colors." Haiyan nodded. The Vorn created something far smarter than they needed for just fighting. That night, while Kang slept, the 3 friends talked about their difficult situation. "We can't keep Kang's secret forever," Minju said quietly. "The military is still looking for any alien technology left behind. And they'll take Kang away if they find it," Dojin added. "They'll study it, maybe even try to use it as a weapon again." Haiyan looked troubled. "My old boss, Colonel Chuno, leads the recovery teams. He would do anything to get his hands on alien tech, especially something like Kang." They fell silent, thinking. Suddenly, they heard a sound from Kang's sleeping area. The alien was making strange noises, its legs twitching in sleep. "It's dreaming," Minju whispered, "probably about something bad." Without thinking, Dojin went to Kang and placed a gentle hand on its side. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe now." To everyone's surprise, Kang quieted at his touch. Its breathing became calm again. "I've been thinking," Haiyan said as Dojin returned. "What if we could prove that Kang isn't just a weapon? What if we could show it's intelligent and deserves rights like any thinking being?" "Who would listen to us?" Minju asked. "I might know someone," Haiyan replied. "My professor from university, Sunwoo. She works as a science advisor to the government now. She's always argued that alien life should be protected, not just exploited." They agreed to contact Sunwoo, but decided to wait until they had gathered more evidence of Kang's intelligence. The next morning, Dojin arrived with a special gift. He placed a simple touchscreen tablet in front of Kang. On the screen was a drawing program with big, easy buttons. "I thought you might like to try this," he told Kang. The alien studied the screen, then carefully touched a color button. A blue dot appeared. Kang made a surprised sound. It touched again, drawing a line. Soon, it was making simple patterns on the screen. Minju took pictures to document this breakthrough. "This proves Kang isn't just smart. It can create. It can express itself." Haiyan watched with growing hope. If humans can see Kang as more than a weapon, maybe there's a chance. Dojin smiled as Kang continued drawing. "Everyone deserves a second chance at life," he said. "Even an alien war dog." Dojin was at work in the ranger station when his boss called him into the office. "There's something I need to ask you about," said Chief Ranger Saiwu. He looked serious as he pointed to a map on his desk. "A military team visited yesterday. They're looking for alien debris that fell in this area 2 weeks ago." Dojin tried to keep his face calm. "What kind of debris?" "They wouldn't say exactly, just that their sensors picked up something falling in our forest." Sue studied Dojin's face. "They specifically asked if you had reported anything unusual during your patrols." "No, nothing unusual," Dojin lied, feeling his heart beat faster. "Just the normal wildlife and hikers." Sogu didn't look convinced. "They're coming back tomorrow to search the North Ridge. You'll guide them." As soon as his shift ended, Dojin raced to Haiyan's workshop. He found Minju and Haiyan teaching Kang new words using pictures and sounds on a tablet. "We have a problem," Dojin announced, out of breath. "The military knows something fell in the forest. They're searching the area tomorrow." Haiyan's face darkened. "It's probably Colonel Chuno. He never gives up when alien technology is involved." Can we move Kang somewhere else? Minju asked. Haiyan shook his head. Not easily. And where would we go? My workshop is the only safe place I know. Kang seemed to sense their worry. The alien moved closer, making a low sound that they had come to recognize as a question. It's okay, Kang, Dojin said, patting the creature's armored side. We won't let them take you. That night, they made plans. Haiyan would contact Professor Sunwoo right away. Meanwhile, they would hide any evidence of the pod. Dojin had buried parts of it in different places in the forest, but they needed to make sure nothing remained at the crash site. Early the next morning, Dojin met the military team at the ranger station. As he had feared, Colonel Chunho was leading them. Ranger Dojin, Chunho said with a cold smile. I understand you patrol the North Ridge regularly. Yes, sir, Dojin replied. Though there's nothing unusual there, just trees and rocks. Colonel Chunho looked at him sharply. We'll see about that. The search team used advanced equipment as they moved through the forest. Dojin led them on a path that avoided the actual crash site, but Chunho seemed suspicious. Our readings indicate the object came down in this direction, he said, pointing toward the real crash location. That area is very steep and dangerous, Dojin warned. We should go around. But Chunho insisted, and soon they were approaching the crater where Kang's pod had landed. Dojin's heart sank when he saw that despite his efforts, some small pieces of alien metal still glinted in the dirt. One of the soldiers called out, Sir, I found something. Colonel Chunho examined the small piece of metal with excitement. This is definitely Vorn technology. The object must have landed near here. He turned to Dojin, eyes narrowed. You said you patrol here regularly. You must have seen the impact. I was off duty that day, Dojin said, trying to sound calm. Search the entire area, Chunho ordered his team, and check if there are any tracks leading away from here. While the soldiers searched, Chunho pulled out a tablet and showed Dojin an image. It was a blurry picture of a large pod, similar to the one Kang had arrived in. We believe a Vorn weapon transport crashed here, Chunho said. Anything inside it would be military property. Hiding it would be treason. Dojin said nothing, but his mind raced. They had to warn Minju and Haiyan. Somehow, he needed to get away. His radio crackled to life. Dojin, this is Chief Saiwu. There's an emergency at the west entrance. A hiker is injured. Can you respond? This was his chance. I have to go, Dojin told Chunho. Ranger duty calls. Chunho looked unhappy, but nodded. We'll continue the search, but we'll talk again soon, Ranger Dojin. I have more questions for you. As Dojin hurried away, he knew they were running out of time. The hunt for Kang had begun. Minju arrived at the crash site 1 hour later, her small truck bouncing over the rough forest road. She was 30 years old, with short practical hair and quick, capable hands. As the only veterinarian in the small mountain town nearby, she had treated everything from pet cats to injured deer. But nothing had prepared her for this. Dojin, what were you thinking? She whispered when she saw the alien pod. We should call the authorities. Look at it first, Dojin said, leading her to the crack in the pod. It's hurt. They'll just kill it. Minju peered inside. The creature was massive, easily the size of a small car. But now that some of the pod's internal lights had come on, she could see it better. Despite its alien appearance, something about its body shape reminded her of the large dogs she sometimes treated. It's some kind of Vorn war beast, Dojin explained. But I don't think it's dangerous. Not now, anyway. The creature's eyes followed Minju as she examined it from the opening. Its breathing was labored. Several deep wounds crossed its armored hide, and one of its 6 legs was clearly broken. I can't treat it here, Minju said. And we can't just leave it. So we take it with us? Dojin asked, surprised. Minju nodded slowly. My clinic has a back room where no one goes. But how do we move something this big? It took them 2 hours to figure it out. They backed Minju's truck as close to the pod as possible. Using ropes, a makeshift ramp, and all their strength, they coaxed and pulled the injured creature into the truck bed. They covered it with a tarp, and Minju gave it a mild sedative from her kit. "I don't know if this will even work on its biology," she admitted, "but it needs to stay still and quiet during the drive." The creature seemed to understand. It didn't fight them, though moving clearly caused it pain. Once in the truck, it lay still under the tarp, only its slow breathing showing it was alive. "What should we call it?" Dojin asked as they drove carefully down the mountain. "It needs a name." Minju glanced back at the tarp-covered shape. "Kang," she said after a moment. Simple and strong. At Minju's small veterinary clinic, they waited until dark before moving Kang inside. The back room was used for storage, but they cleared enough space for the massive creature. Minju immediately set up an IV drip, though she had to guess at what fluids might help. "Its blood is unlike anything I've seen," she said, examining a sample under her microscope. "But some structures are similar to earth animals." Kang watched them work with alert eyes. When Minju approached with disinfectant for its wounds, it tensed but didn't attack. It seemed to understand they were trying to help. "See these?" Dojin pointed to metal devices embedded in Kang's skin. They glowed faintly with the same purple light as the pod's markings. "They're all over its body." Minju examined one carefully. Some kind of technology. They might be hurting it. As if to confirm this, Kang made a low whining sound when she touched one of the devices. The sound was so dog-like that both siblings looked at each other in surprise. "I don't think this is just a weapon," Minju said quietly. "It's too intelligent, too aware." That night, they took turns watching over Kang. Dojin sat with it during the first shift, talking softly as he would to a nervous dog. "You're safe now," he told it, not sure if it could understand. "No one's going to hurt you again." To his surprise, Kang slowly extended one of its less injured limbs toward him. Carefully, Dojin reached out and placed his hand on the offered limb. "Hello, Kang," he said softly. "Welcome to Earth." In that moment, something important happened. Not just first contact between species, but first understanding, first trust. And for Kang, after a lifetime of pain and service, maybe the first experience of kindness. Dojin raced his small truck up the mountain road to Hyeon's workshop. The tires skidded on loose rocks as he took the turns too fast. He had to warn the others. When he arrived, he found Minju and Hyeon in a state of excitement. "Professor Sunwoo agreed to help us," Minju said. "She's coming tomorrow to meet Kang." "It may be too late," Dojin said, catching his breath. "Colonel Juno found pieces of the pod. They know something crashed there. They're searching the area right now." Hyeon's face grew serious. "How long do we have?" "Not long. A day at most." Dojin looked at Kang, who was watching them with alert eyes. "They'll check nearby buildings. This workshop will be on their list." They quickly made a new plan. Hyeon would hide Kang in the old storage cave behind the workshop. Minju would gather all their evidence of Kang's intelligence. Dojin would return to work to avoid suspicion. As they prepared, Kang seemed to understand the danger. The alien moved quietly, following Hyeon's directions without making noise. But they were too late. Just as night fell, the sound of vehicles came from the road below. Headlights swept across the workshop windows as several military trucks approached. "They're here already," Hyeon said, his voice tense. "We can't move Kang now. They'll see us." Dojin looked out the window. "It's Juno, and he's brought a full team." "What do we do?" Minju asked, fear in her voice. Dojin stood tall. "We face them. We tell the truth. Kang is intelligent. It deserves protection, not to be treated like a weapon." They stood together as Colonel Juno and 6 soldiers approached the workshop door. Kang positioned itself behind the humans, partly hidden in shadows. Junho didn't bother to knock. He pushed the door open, his soldiers behind him with weapons ready. Park Ranger Dojin, Junho said coldly. I'm not surprised to find you here. You've been hiding something. Colonel, Dojin replied calmly. We need to talk. No more talking, Junho snapped. We tracked the alien technology to this location. His eyes moved past them, widening when he saw Kang's massive shape in the shadows. The war beast. Secure it immediately. The soldiers raised their weapons, but Minju stepped forward. Stop. You don't understand. Kang isn't just a weapon. It's intelligent. It can think. Stand aside, Junho ordered. That creature is military property. Step away now or be arrested for treason. We can't let you take it, Hyen said. The Vorn treated Kang cruelly. They built pain into its very body. We've been helping it heal. Junho laughed without humor. Heal? That thing was designed to kill. It's a living weapon, nothing more. You're wrong, Dojin insisted. Kang understands us. It can communicate. It can learn. One of the soldiers moved forward nervously, his weapon pointed at Kang. Sir, should we sedate it? Yes, Junho ordered. Prepare the tranquilizers. At this moment, Kang did something none of them expected. It moved forward slowly, stepping into the light. The soldiers tensed, fingers on triggers. But instead of attacking, Kang lowered its massive body to the floor in a non-threatening posture. Then, carefully, it reached one claw toward the tablet that Minju had left on the table. With gentle movements, Kang touched the screen, activating the drawing program they had been using. Everyone watched in stunned silence as Kang drew a simple picture, 3 human figures, and one larger figure beside them. It's drawing us, one soldier whispered. Impossible, Junho said, but doubt showed on his face. Not impossible, came a new voice from the doorway. Just unexpected. They all turned to see an older woman standing there, her eyes bright with intelligence. She wore a government badge on her coat. Professor Sunwoo, Hyen said with relief. I came as soon as I could, she said, her eyes fixed on Kang with wonder. It seems I'm just in time. The ship shook violently as another human missile hit its shields. Red lights flashed across the dark control room of the Vorn battleship Kandar. Damage report, shouted General Taiho, his gray skin glistening with sweat under the emergency lights. Shield strength at 38%, General, replied Officer Dahian from his station. The humans are using new weapons. Our systems cannot keep up. General Taiho slammed his fist on the command panel. The Vorn military had never expected such resistance from Earth. They had thought humans would be easy to defeat. They were wrong. We must retreat, Taiho decided. Begin emergency jump preparations. But General, said Commander Juwu, the jump drive requires us to lighten the ship's load. We must remove non-essential equipment. Taiho nodded grimly. Do it. In the lower decks of the Kandar*, inside a reinforced holding cell, a massive creature lay in pain. Its body was covered in thick armor plates that shone like black metal. 6 powerful legs ended in sharp claws that could tear through steel. Its head featured 4 glowing yellow eyes and multiple rows of teeth. This was K-917, one of the Vorn's bioengineered war beasts. These creatures were bred and built for one purpose: to destroy enemies on the ground. K-917 had fought in 3 battles on Earth's surface before a human weapon had damaged it badly. 2 Vorn soldiers entered the holding area. They looked at the creature with cold eyes. This one is marked for disposal, said the first soldier, checking his datapad. 2 damage to repair within acceptable resource parameters. The second soldier nodded. Prep it for ejection. The general wants all non-essentials gone before the jump. K-917 watched them with intelligent eyes. Despite what the Vorn thought, the war beasts were not just mindless weapons. They could think. They could feel. And right now, K-917 felt fear. The soldiers loaded K-917's massive body into a containment pod. They paid no attention to the creature's whimpers of pain as they roughly handled its injured form. "Should we put it down first?" asked the second soldier. The first soldier shook his head. "Why waste the sedatives? It will burn up in the planet's atmosphere anyway." On the bridge, General Teo reviewed the list of items being ejected. "War Beast K-917 is ready for disposal," General reported Commander Juwu. "Its injuries require more healing time than our mission allows." "Eject it," ordered Tahoe without hesitation. "A damaged weapon is no weapon at all." In the launch bay, K-917's containment pod was loaded into an ejection tube. The war beast pressed its face against the small viewport, watching as the Vorn soldiers prepared to send it to its death. In its mind, it understood one simple truth. After years of loyal service, it was being thrown away like trash. A soldier pressed the launch button. With a loud hiss, the pod shot out from the Kandar and into the emptiness of space. The battleship immediately began preparations for its jump away from Earth, not caring about the fate of its discarded weapon. K-917's pod tumbled through the blackness of space, slowly being pulled toward Earth by gravity. From inside, the injured creature could see the blue planet growing larger through the small window. Pain throbbed through its body from dozens of wounds. The neural implants that the Vorn used to control it sent sporadic jolts of agony through its nervous system. As the pod began to heat up upon entering Earth's atmosphere, K-917 closed its eyes. The Vorn had created it to be fearless, but they had not removed its ability to suffer. Now, abandoned and in pain, the war beast waited for the end. But fate had different plans for K-917. The pod, designed to withstand extreme battle conditions, held together during the fiery descent. Instead of burning up as its creators had intended, it continued its journey toward the surface of Earth, toward an unexpected future.